Through the words of famous hypnotist Dolores Cannon, perhaps you have a clearer view of how our species appeared. Returning to the ongoing life on this planet, if one day it is destroyed and only beings with truly strong and superior vitality exist, will they continue to create a new species on some other primitive planet? I think that genetic intervention is aimed at protecting and maintaining the species and ensuring our existence. Looked at this way, it is a beautiful act of kindness and demonstrates dedication to care. I have emphasized before that it is very likely that our current way of life will be destroyed. It was foreseen that the Earth would be tilted on its axis. In that disaster, people will die from many causes, such as floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, and tsunamis, all forms of disasters known and unknown to humans. Then there will be deaths from disease and starvation. Whoever survives will have to be extremely strong. I have absolute faith in humanity. I believe we have the power to survive, that it will not be the end of the world, but the end of the world as we know it. It would be a complete change to our way of life, but man has great perseverance to re-establish what he considers important in that way of life. This scenario is one I don't like to think about and don't want to see as a possibility, but many experts agree that it exists. Maybe the aliens are simply looking ahead and trying to predict every possibility. They don't want to fall into the situation of being caught off guard again. By manipulating genes, they can not only create a human race that can function in polluted environments with a body that is resistant to cancer and other diseases, which are caused by these environmental changes, but can also help people adapt to a new stressful lifestyle. One of my clients saw himself in the midst of a scene filled with sick and dying people who were trying to help in any small way. She herself is not sick and cannot be sick. Her job is to help others. It is possible that she is one of a new breed of humans designed to combat the devastation caused by the Earth's misalignment and the major crises that could follow. The hypothesis that I have developed from the information I have received is that the aliens, as a race, are extremely interested in our well-being, as they are the ones who have taken care of us over billions of years. They don't want to abandon us at this time. Some humans are being prepared for survival on another planet, which will become inhabited by disease-free individuals. Others may also be preparing to survive on planet Earth after catastrophic changes render most humans incapable of functioning. I believe that in the future, when we can see all the different aspects of this phenomenon, we will realize that these creatures are not to be feared but should be welcomed as ancestors, like you as our guardian. Since being exposed to this radical way of thinking, I began to realize that I was observing things around me in a different way. It has influenced the way I view my fellow human beings, the way they live their lives, and the way those lives are related to each other in a global situation. When I took note of these things, the logic behind the guardian hypothesis became clearer and more reasonable in my mind. In the distant future, it is possible that we will take on the role of guardian for some other planets, and humans will have the knowledge to introduce life as an experiment. First, they will originate life in simple, rudimentary stages, just simple cells, to see what would grow under current conditions, anything that the primeval environment could nurture. After many experiments, this project will progress to the point where more complex life forms are introduced or genetically modified to suit the environment. From the beginning, that planet was lifeless, without even the most basic cellular structure. So humans will have a bare planet ripe for experimentation, serving as a playground for future scientists to test the adaptations of life forms, including methods banned on Earth. Earth, because these barriers do not exist in an alien, desolate world. Of course, people will have to be under the direction and guidance of a government, or at least a certain superior. They will follow the sequence of a master plan because the plan is too complicated for an ordinary scientist to work alone. And then there's the care, pruning, and transplanting to help regulate the growing organisms. Over a long period of time, life will be established and begin to develop its own characteristics. Organisms on Earth could be introduced and bred for genetic adaptation. An animal with superior intelligence may appear. Of course, it will be helped along the way by manipulating genes and introducing traits into our species. However, if this creature begins to exhibit flaws that do not fit the overall plan, will people cancel the project and destroy the creatures? I think that humans still possess enough of the Creator's spirit to consider all life sacred, including the life they have created themselves. Humans will try to help those species adapt to their defects, or let them evolve into a dead end and end their existence. As the dominant species evolves and begins to show signs of civilization, surveillance will gradually decrease. They will no longer need to be constantly looked after. Besides, observing how new organisms develop on their own is also an interesting experiment. What qualities will they have? Are they creative? Are they aggressive? Even so, a mentor will come to live in their community and teach them ways to make life better. This advisor will be treated and worshipped as a god, for he possesses extraordinary powers and knowledge. He will give instructions on how to gather food and ways to survive. After that, to study mental development, the counselor must no longer interfere. It would be a long test that would never be canceled by the parent planet. Through successive generations, it will continue to be recorded in the annals of history. There will always be observers to monitor and update the records. Some of these new organisms will be monitored more closely to see how their genetics are evolving and how their environment is affecting them. If problems occur, they will be helped by genetic changes. I don't think we would consider this helping as an intervention, because under ideal conditions, the organism would be unaware of anything being done and could continue with its life, yourself without being affected. But what if these creatures evolved in a different direction and began using their newfound knowledge to wage war? What if these acts of war had such a profound impact that they began to produce weapons of immense power? What if they used those new discoveries in reckless ways, threatening to destroy not only themselves, but their world? Are they allowed to do that? If the experiment had been protected and nurtured for countless centuries, would it have been abandoned, or would we humans have seized the opportunity to intervene at that moment? That would be a huge problem, and the decision would probably be the responsibility of the highest government on Earth. But I have faith that if those creatures threatened to completely destroy their planet, we would probably move to prevent it, because this destruction could have system-wide impacts. Heaven, even neighboring stars and galaxies. This cannot be allowed to happen. It will cause a lot of breakage. At that point, I think we must finally break the golden rule of non-intervention and come out. We will finally let those creatures know that we are their creators, their guardians, and their protectors through time. How will we be received? Do the other species believe in us? Does this make any difference? This whole scenario sounds like science fiction, but how do we know for sure it won't come true? Not here on Earth, but on countless planets throughout the universe. As long as there is still curiosity, people will still search. As long as humans continue to search, there is no limit to what they will achieve. Maybe this is what I got from my surreal dream. One thing that makes me a little curious is, on that primitive planet, is there a timeline similar to the one where we live? Many investigators have discovered time-lapse cases in which hours inexplicably pass without the person being aware of the time. However, a concept was discovered that I found even more strange: cases of time compression. That's when events take place over a much shorter period of time than usual. Of course, both of these phenomena are examples of time being mysteriously distorted from the perspective of the person witnessing the event. We are hindered by being stuck in our own linear concept of time. It has been said that we may be the only planet in the universe to have invented a way to measure something that doesn't exist. In my work, I have been told many times that time is just an illusion, a human invention. The aliens have no concept of time, and they told me that humans will never be able to travel into space unless we overcome our mistaken concept of time. This is one of the main problems that keeps humans trapped on Earth. We are completely wrapped up in the concept of time that everything must progress from point A to point B in an orderly manner within a certain period of time. There can be no deviation, no detour, because they do not match our belief system. Therefore, our vision is very limited. Anything outside of that vision is said to not exist. If the planet we live on revolved around the sun in a different way, how would we measure time? Suppose there was always only light, or always only darkness, or there were two suns. How would people measure time, or would they decide that there was no need for such trouble? What about those who travel in spaceships for long periods of time, traversing space with no distinction between day and night, and no reason to mark seasons and years? It's no surprise that these aliens don't understand the purpose of time for us and often find it meaningless. The aliens have no such limitations, so they are free to explore other dimensions and existing worlds, which we cannot see due to our rigid time structure. Once these discoveries were made, the aliens found a way to decompose and reconstitute the matter of everything they wanted to transport. They can weave and slide through cracks and crevices to reach other dimensions as easily as passing through a door. Of course, they may have been doing so long before our ancestors were still living in caves, and we still have to work hard to keep up with them. But we will never find those loopholes unless we remove the blindfold that says it's impossible. If other races have found a way, then we can find a way too. And aliens may be trying to reveal to us the secret to dissolve the barriers of time and show us the portal yellow. Mental travel and movement in and out of dimensions are very difficult concepts for the mind of an elementary investigator to grasp. The answer to the UFO riddle is no longer simple. The deeper we delve into this puzzle, the more complex and nerve-wracking the concepts become. Maybe this is why we haven't been given options until now. In the past, the human mind had to get used to aliens traveling by flying saucers in ways we could understand. For example, we need to use some kind of conventional fuel to surpass the speed of light, so that this travel still obeys the laws of physics that our scientists understand. We have been spoon-fed for years and only receive as much information as we can digest at a time. As we gradually adapt to each part of the concept, and as the idea no longer frightens us, we are presented with a more complex piece of the puzzle. I seriously doubt whether we will ever fully understand that concept, just as we cannot expect a toddler to understand geometry or calculus. So we may never have a chance. I've been told many times, don't expect all my questions to be answered. Knowledge can be a cure, or it can be a poison. So I took what was given to me, and through the process of analyzing the concepts, I found that I was given more information to digest. But it seems like the amount of information I receive never exceeds my ability to process it. Vast new lands lie before the explorer, and I hope to journey there. We are just taking our first steps into a mysterious world. We say that these strange creatures and flying objects do not operate according to the laws of physics that we know. I think we should see that those phenomena are not unnatural, but on the contrary, they are completely natural. They may obey a new law of physics that we have not yet discovered or even thought about. That rule is only new to us because it does not match our reality, but it is completely normal for alien creatures. According to the information I received, UFO spacecraft can disappear from sight or on radar screens, etc., by suddenly changing the vibration frequency. You can roughly understand this idea by looking at the propeller or propeller blade. When it spins up quickly, you can no longer see the individual blades clearly. We, who live in the physical world on Earth, have a lower vibrational frequency. Many of these alien beings do not live on other planets, but in other dimensions. In those dimensions, there are many other worlds that sometimes exist parallel to our world, but with higher vibrational frequencies. Often the worlds are completely unaware of each other's existence. The most advanced worlds know of our existence and often come here to observe. To be able to come to our world, they must slow down their vibrational frequency. It is described as quite painful to slow down this vibrational frequency and to maintain that frequency for any length of time. Similarly, if humans enter other dimensions, they will also suffer the opposite impact. We will have to increase our vibrational frequency and decrease it when we return to our world. Many of these creatures have evolved to the point where they are purely energy and no longer need a body. However, they can appear in a body if this is necessary to interact with humans. I don't understand why these beings of pure energy need spaceships to travel. Perhaps their spacecraft not only carries the environment, gravity, atmosphere, etc. to sustain life, but also carries vibrational frequencies. There have been many cases where humans were placed on smaller spacecraft, and their bodies suffered no lasting effects. It is possible that the ship entered this world and operated within our vibrational frequency range, and humans could easily adapt to that. According to reports, small gray creatures are often seen aboard this type of small ship. They may be a type of cloned or engineered creature that is able to operate within the vibrational range of our world more easily than other types of creatures. These little creatures were born in the shape of their creators, tall gray creatures, to be able to come to Earth and perform tedious tasks. Samples taken from humans, animals, plants, etc. are then taken to a large spaceship for analysis in the laboratory. There are not many reported cases of people being taken aboard large or mother spacecraft. These types of large spacecraft often come to rest high in our atmosphere because they are too large to land easily. But now I think these ships also vibrate at a different frequency that makes them invisible. It is possible that the creatures up there cannot adapt easily to the lower vibrational frequency and prefer to stay in a comfortable environment. In order for humans to board this spaceship, their molecules must be adjusted and their vibration frequency increased. They can function in this state for a certain period of time, but it cannot last indefinitely because otherwise the body will disintegrate. When they return to Earth, the complicated and difficult process mentioned above takes place again. The human body is readjusted and the vibration frequency is lowered. This can lead to confusion, disorientation, temporary paralysis, and physical signs, such as bruising, while the body recovers from the shock to the body's systems. This may be the reason why there are not many cases of humans being carried on large spaceships. The experience with the little ship and the little gray creatures is much more common. The average person may not be able to adapt to the physical changes required for a large spaceship experience. In 1998, the last American on a cooperative space exploration mission between the US and the Soviet Union returned from the Mir space station orbiting Earth. He said the biggest change was getting used to the heaviness of his body after being in zero gravity for so long. Missing time series do not always turn out as they might seem. When there are time-lapse events, it is often assumed that the person involved had direct contact with aliens or UFOs, especially if the person saw lights or flying objects at the time. I discovered that's not always the case. In many cases, the person is simply locking an unpleasant or painful experience in their mind, and it has nothing to do with aliens. This information can be accurately gathered when the client reaches a state of hypnosis deep enough for us to make contact with their subconscious mind. The subconscious mind contains all memories and will report what actually happened without being clouded by the emotions of the conscious mind. I always tell investigators not to jump to conclusions when subjects report missing time or any other experience that seems to fit the pattern. Always look for the simplest solution first. In many cases, that is the answer. I don't understand why some people prefer to explain events in their lives with more complicated answers. A chunk of my time was cut off, so I must have been taken aboard a UFO ship. By some mysterious psychological process, this abstract argument is easier to accept than a simpler but more unpleasant argument. During one of my hypnosis sessions, a man was lost for a certain period of time, and that event was related to alien contact, but it was a case of his presence, not at the right time and place.